Good morning, good morning, good morning, Atlanta. Good morning, Southeast. Good morning, East Coast. Good morning, West Coast. Good morning, New York. Good morning, Mountain Time. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for opening your calendar, for moving things around, for having breakfast earlier, for having breakfast later, for everything that you did to be here. We do not take for granted that you're here. It is not a small thing that you're here, and it is not a small thing that you woke up. So thank you. We like to say here, and I know some of you can finish my sentence, the way you start your day gives you the rest of your day, and the way that you live each day gives you the rest of your life. Once again, I don't have a question for today. I'm dropping on that. I gotta get back to my structure of finding my questions for the day. So I guess I have the typical one. Saurel, you know what the typical one is?
Yeah. What do you call a
tell
dog?
You a joke about construction?
Yeah, that one, that one won't work today though, Gio. That one will not work today. Andrea already knows the answer to that one.
Well, I think I know one y'all don't know.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Why can't you hear a pterodactyl going to the bathroom?
A what?
Pterodactyl, the dinosaur.
Oh.
Pterodactyl.
Because the P is silent.
Oh, now that's way above
one.
my pay grade.
That's great.
Okay. Love it. I love it. Not so terrible, actually. I love it. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. Well, let's get us all primed and ready for American leadership coach and for Kris Castro, the founder of Shift Inc. Awesome. Haiti, what time is it, Haiti?
Hello, hello. The time is now. It is right here.
Now, right here, the only time really available. Jacqueline, 2 questions for you. How are you? And one thing you're grateful for?
I am how I say I am. And today I am thankful, very thankful. And I am thankful for my family. You said 2 things I'm grateful for?
One thing you're grateful for.
Oh, yeah, my family. Okay. You just checked out.
Love it. Michelle, good morning. 2 questions for you. Who are you going to hug today? And where are you?
Uh-oh, my connection stuttered. So who am I going to hug and?
And where are you?
Oh, where am I? Today, right here every morning where I'm supposed to be to start my day. And who I'm going to hug, if you heard that clattering a bit ago, that was me. I'm going to hug my grand doggy who I'm babysitting today.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you very much. I am right here. The time is now. I say the way I say that I am. I'm grateful for whatever I say I'm grateful for. And I'm going to hug somebody today. Saurel, good morning, sir. America's leadership coach. How are you?
Giovanni, good morning. You are the #1 transformational leadership coach, my partner, and therefore I am grateful. Grateful to have you, grateful to have the Daily Huddle, and certainly today for episode 290, folks, grateful to have Kris Castro, owner and leadership coach at Shift Inc., as our expert guest today. Kris, say hey.
Hello there, everybody. It's good to be back.
Hey, welcome back. Let me tell you a little bit about Kris. Kris deems herself a faithful warrior. Well, I call her my adventurer. If you look up the word adventure in the dictionary, there's a picture of Kris Castro next to it, okay? She's an inspiring visionary and a bold change agent. After 50 plus years of walking with the Lord through both joyful and extremely difficult seasons of her life, Kris works with Christian business owners and leaders to hear the Lord's voice more clearly so they can receive breakthroughs and strategies that build bridges towards their goals and heart's desires. She has the unique ability of making the change process an adventure and loves partnering with her clients each step of the way. And if you don't watch out, it'll be more than 12,000 steps. Kris is a real adventurer. You hear her story 2 episodes ago, you'll go bonkers. I'm so glad to have you here, Kris. If you want to connect with Kris, we'll post information about that in the chat and on Facebook. So Kris Castro, good morning and welcome to the Daily Huddle.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here. Good to be here. You want to go ahead and dive right in?
Yep, hop right in. The floor is yours. We're yours for the next 12 to 15 minutes.
All righty. So today's question of the day is, who or what provides you with a sense of security? And I was trying to figure out the best way to approach this topic, and I decided that the best way to approach it would be the flip side, which is insecurity, because everybody comes to a place of understanding security through the lens of their past history. And so I went online, and on WebMD, this is what they say about insecurity. Insecurity is a feeling of inadequacy, not being good enough, and the feeling of uncertainty. It produces anxiety about your goals, relationships, and ability to handle certain situations. Everybody deals with insecurity from time to time. It can appear in all areas of your life and come from a variety of causes. It might stem from a traumatic event, patterns of previous experience, social conditioning, which is learning the rule by observing others, or local environments such as school, work, home. It can also stem from general instability. People who experience unpredictable upsets in daily life are more likely to feel insecure about ordinary resources and routines. On the other hand, insecurity can have no definite external cause. Instead, it can appear as a quirk of personality or brain chemistry. Understanding the nature of insecurities can help you manage your own and offer others the support they need. And the article goes on to describe the different types of insecurity people feel. And there's relationship insecurity, job insecurity, body image insecurity, and social insecurity. And then I was quite surprised. Money insecurity was actually not mentioned, which, as we all know, based on the last year and a half, has been a primary focus across the world. So I did a little bit more research, and I found a article from Time magazine about that. And in that article from June of last year, they said that after a survey that they did, 51% of Americans feels at least somewhat anxious about their financial situation following the coronavirus outbreak, and nearly 1 in 10 Americans' financial situation, which is 29%, has been negatively impacted since the pandemic began. And then they went on to discuss about how money anxieties affect mental health. And so that got me to thinking that really your level of mental health, which what I call the clinical equivalent to well-being, really either creates inner peace or it creates emotional distress. And that determines how secure you feel at any point in time, right? And that, of course, brings us back to our question. Who or what provides you with this feeling of security? Who does that? And some people, they base their security in other people. You know, those people, for whatever reason, that's where they get their security. And if something happens to that person, or that person starts treating them differently, their whole inner peace, if they had inner peace to begin with, it disappears because it's based on that person. Some people put their security in wealth. So they're constantly trying to gain as much money as possible, as much stuff as possible, as much material things as possible. Whatever it is, that wealth is their security. So if something happens to their wealth, their inner peace totally disappears. And then some people put their security in their image, how they look, how they feel, how they present themselves. And since they do that, especially the how they present themselves, they truly never, ever, ever, ever show the authentic trueness of who they are, nor will they allow themselves to show any flaws. And so that creates a whole world of stress for them, because they're constantly trying to showcase themselves in this perfect way, right? So who or what do you get your security in? And for all of us, it's very different, because we all come to the table in different ways. And I'm just going to talk about me right now. So for me, my security has always been in Jesus. But the funny thing is, there's been different levels of trust in that. And I can look way back 25, 30 years ago as a very young adult. And I can see how, yes, my security was in Jesus, but did I really trust him? Well, no, because I used to get upset or angry, or upset. My inner peace used to disappear, like when a bill was due and I didn't have the money to pay the bill. And so now fast forward to the age I am now, and it's a whole different experience because my trust levels have increased. And how you trust and who you trust in really does determine your level of inner peace, and it gives you the ability to walk through chaos. And as you all know, we've all gone through the last 18 months in different ways. We've all had different trigger points of worry in our lives. And some of us have been able to walk through it better than others. Some of us have had, it's been like, okay, like whatever. And others of us have been really, really stressed. And I think the one blessing out of the last 18 months is we've all had to become real with ourselves. We've all had to look in the mirror and actually see, what is it we're trusting in? Because if a situation can completely knock us off and put us in a position of fear, then that's something we have to address and deal with, because that situation can come up again, right? And so for me, the last 6 or 7 years has been this accelerated faith journey for me about, do I really trust Jesus? Because if I do, why am I worrying about different things? And it's anytime worry comes up, it's like, oh, I guess I didn't thought I trusted as much, or I need to really surrender that and lay that down and trust more. And I have to say, if you go back and you watch the last 2 times I was here, which was on April 6th and March 17th, I don't want to rehash all of those stories, but the adventure I had across the United States and my I Can't Outgive You God story has been a platform for radical trust and understanding that for me, Jesus really is the answer. And the best gift I have had in the last 6 or 7 years has been learning how to live one day at a time and 1 hour at a time sometimes. And that has been such a shift in my life for being able to step into the unknown, step into complete and utter chaos, radical uncertainty, and being able to just walk through it well. Now, not perfectly, by no means do I walk through anything perfectly, but being able to walk through it with a sense of well-being and a sense of peace has been this incredible gift that I never would have received had I not walked through all the really painful moments over the last 7 years. And now because I really do allow Jesus to be Lord over my life, and I really do trust him more and more and more on a deeper level, Philippians 4:6-7 has become a reality in my life. And I'm going to read that to you. And then I want to close with another article I found. And then I just want to have a conversation about this question. So Philippians 4:6-7 says, don't be pulled, and this is from the Passion Translation, just because I like the way it's read it. Don't be pulled in different directions or worried about a thing. Be saturated in prayer throughout each day, offering your faith-filled requests before God with overflowing gratitude. Tell him every detail of your life. Then God's wonderful peace that transcends human understanding will guard your heart and mind through Jesus Christ. And that transcending through human understanding is something I thought I understood, but I never actually understood it until now. I can look back at the last 50, I'm 53, the last, let's say 40 something years of my life, okay? And I can go, wow, I wasted so much time worrying about X. I wasted so much emotional heartbreak about Y. I walked through that situation with such difficulty because of Z, all because I didn't give it to Jesus and let him deal with it. I was trying to control it. I was stressing over the outcome. I was worried about money. And all of that was like wasted energy and wasted emotional resources and wasted lack of peace because I didn't. And now it's so much easier for me to go, I don't like this, God. Jesus, this doesn't feel fair, but here it's yours. You deal with it. And then I process through my own annoyance, pain, frustration, anger, whatever it is, more quickly than before. And then I go, all right, fine. I don't know what you're going to do, but you deal with it. And then every day it's continuing to give it to him and letting him work it out. And you know what? He always does. May not always happen in the time frame I want, but he always does. And that for me has been the best gift of inner peace, release, and surrender I've ever had. And so let me end with, I found an article on businessinsider.com. The title of it is Positive Mental Health and Well-Being. I'm sorry, it's not the title. In it, it says, positive mental health and well-being is a combination of feeling good and functioning well. And they provide 10 components to keep in mind to do that. And I'm just going to read off the 10. Number 1, pursue experiencing positive emotions like happiness, joy, satisfaction, and love. Number 2, develop positive relationships, people you care for and those who care for you. Number 3, engage with life. Number 4, know your life is valuable and worthwhile. 5, do things that give you a sense of achievement or competence. 6, develop emotional stability by establishing calm and being able to manage your own emotions. And that's key, because if you can't manage your own emotions, you're never going to experience inner peace. Number 7, increase your resilience to cope with the stresses of daily life. Number 8, be optimistic and positive about your life and future. Number 9, increase your self-esteem. And number 10, increase your vitality. And then I'm going to add an 11th, and this is my addition. Give Jesus an opportunity to prove he really can take care of you because of how much he loves you. And so here's your homework for the day. I want you, after this is done today, to just walk up to the mirror and seriously ask yourself, who or where or what do I find my security? And be honest with yourself. And if you're at peace with your answer, then go celebrate. If you're not at peace with your answer, then go do something about it. Figure out what that is that you want to have your security lie in, and then move in that direction. So that's my talk for today. Let's have an open discussion on who or what provides you with a sense of security.
Yay. Kris, thank you for being an open book this way. Thank you for sharing your anchor and your answer for who and what gives you security. Pamela has a question. Before we go to Pamela, I'd love for you to just touch a little bit on this. For the faithful warrior, there is Jesus. For the warrior who's not perhaps religious or spiritual and is a business person who's looking for that type of anchor that you found, what would you say to that person? How do you connect to that which gives you security and provides
Well,
that?
one of the most amazing examples of that transition, which I'll coin that atheist to belief, okay? If we're just going to coin that as two extremes, is Lee Strobel, okay? Lee Strobel was an avid atheist, didn't believe in God, that whole thing. And he went on this, and he's a journalist, like an investigative journalist. He went on an investigative journalist to prove Jesus wrong. Like Jesus was not who he said he was, Son of God. And this journey, I can't remember what book it is. I think it was The Case for Christ. If you're a warrior and you don't quite believe and you want a deeper level of security, just pick the book up and read it. And at the end of the book, you make the decision. Because at the end of the day, every one of us has to decide, my security is for me. Your security is for you. And I'm not going to fault you for that. But we all have to live with ourselves. And so if you are seeking or you're curious or you just want to know more, that's a good book to start with because he approaches it from an investigative journalist perspective. And the other thing is, I would say, just pick up the Bible and read the Gospels. If you're really seeking, God will speak to you. I promise you, God will speak to you. He does not. When somebody is looking towards him, he never hides his face from a humble heart.
Thank you, Kris. Giovanni, any comments before we take questions?
Thank you, Kris. Thank you. And Saurel. I think that there is an aspect of the opportunity of seeing what gives me my sense of security. And there's this aspect of looking at my faith, whatever my faith is, for an answer. And what I have seen, given my life experience, being born into a very strong faith environment, is that it's not enough to look at the history of religion or somebody else's teachings on the opportunity that God is or that Jesus is, given that so many families cover up their insecurities, they cover up their lack of self-awareness to themselves and how they impact themselves and how they impact others by saying things like, well, I just trust God. And so and I grew up in this environment and I saw the lack of intellectual effort in my family to look for, and the people around my environment, to look for the way we actually lived and the way we actually judge others. But then we cover it up with, in my religion, we were born Catholic, we cover it up, well, what Jesus knows best. But there was this gap, a real gap that it needed to be filled outside of the religious upbringing or outside of the faith. which 50 years have, for me, 40 years has passed by. That's a long time to see the same people making the same having the same results, you know, and suffering the way they're suffering, right? So I think that the merging what you kind of like pointing to in today's conversation, merging that for those people who practice their faith, also merging it with understanding the brain, absent of the faith, understanding what actually gives peace of mind to the brain. So that's kind of like what I'm thinking, but Saurel told me stop talking, let Pamela ask the question. So go ahead, Pamela.
Okay. I love this conversation, especially in light of what's going on in our world, that there's a lot of emotional insecurity right now globally. My question is this, and I'm a strong believer, both traditionally and metaphysically. I think I understand some things, but the question is this: what do you tell yourself when you're not able to pay that important bill, or the decision that you needed, that you were counting on, doesn't go your way? What do you tell yourself?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I actually talked about in a blog post not a while back. So I don't always get what I want, nor do things happen the way I want, right? And what I have learned from 2020 insight is that there's always a reason behind it. And one example is maybe 10 years ago, I think it was 10 years ago, I didn't have enough money to pay rent, and my lease was coming up, and I couldn't afford to go somewhere else. It was this like trifecta of just issues. And I was like, God, I need this bill paid. And he didn't pay the bill. And it was the first time in my life where he really didn't come through for me in such a significant way. And I had a moment where I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I seriously didn't know what to do. And I had to process through that while yet trying to remember that he is king of my life and there must be a reason. And no lie, 3 weeks later, I got an opportunity to move into a house for somebody that parents had died, that they just needed a renter for a while, and they gave it to me at $400 a month, which was $800 less than I had rent, which was $800 less than I had been paying for rent if I had renewed that lease or gotten a new apartment. And the timing was off. And so that's one of the things that I learned, is that Jesus is king of timing. And if I don't get what I want, it's because the timing isn't right, or there's something better and it's not ready. Now, to answer the other piece of it, sometimes situations take a long time to flesh out, and there are multiple layers and parts to it. And just because I think something has to happen a certain way doesn't mean it's supposed to, or should, or is the best way for me. And I've really had to let go of my expectations for things and trust in Jesus's big picture, because he can see the end from the beginning. I can only see right now. And he's the best strategist in the world. And because he's the best, I have to trust him. And so, Pamela, to get back to your question, I get disappointed, and sometimes I have to process through my own human emotions. But at the end of the day, I know it's best for me. And I can hang my hat on that and work through my own disappointment and just hold on and wait and trust that it's going to work out, even if I have to experience pain, disappointment, and difficulty in the transition of it.
I love that answer. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Kris. Peter, you've got a fraction of a minute to ask your question. And Kris, you'll have a fraction of a minute to answer it.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, guys. You can hear me clearly? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me clearly? Okay. Well, Kris, good to see you again. You're my favorite Castro. And it's interesting. I laud Saurel and Giovanni because this discussion is, can be a very challenging one. But it's good that we have the platform where we can express it. And my comment is that, Kris, I laud your precarious faith, and it's a beacon, and I congratulate you on that. And your revelator analysis, where you brought in the different needs that we have, and I too am challenged. I'm identify the self piece, the finance piece, all of the things that you touched on. It's a good reminder for us to really, as you said, look in the mirror and see ourselves and search for that elusive thing that we all have a void for. My experience is kind of interesting that Philippians 4:6 was the first verse that I was introduced to when I came to Christ over 20-something years ago. Never met the gentleman, but he said, Peter, if you get this down, it will change your life significantly. And when I do feel that void, I go back to that verse as the first one that really anchors me. But in summation, I'm going to get off, but I just want to say that I laud you, Kris, for the stance you've taken and the years that I've been around you.
Oh, thank
Keep
you.
doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. And I know we're got to wrap up. So I saw somebody wanted the 10 steps. I've got the links that I researched when Saurel and Giovanni post the Facebook. I'll go ahead and put it in the comments so that you guys can get that.
Thank you, Kris. So your last comment for the day.
If anybody is in a place of seeking Jesus or want to know more about him or just want to hear more about my story, just contact me. I'd love to share it.
Thank you, Kris. Thank you. Giovanni, take us home.
Thank you, Kris, Peter, Pamela, and everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for connecting with the conversation. And then on the chat, you'll see Kris's contact info. Kris, I appreciate the warrior faith, the faith warrior faith that you are. And I love the inquiry, and I love the opportunity to go to the edges of the conversation and include the realm where everybody can be in the conversation. I love doing that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so 2 things to say and some subtitles. One thing, don't forget to register for Transformation and the Struggle of Relationships. We'll put the link in the chat. This is your opportunity for the year to put yourself in that conversation if you're in a relationship and it matters to restore that relationship. And 2, there are 6 things that will give you peace of mind, great skin, great body, eyesight 20/20 to what matters to you. And where's Patty? Oh, Patty left us. Okay, Patty left us. And those are sleep. Sleep 7 hours a day. Love, always love those you have an opinion of. Love those who you love to hate, like Saurel says. Eat more plant-based. Eat sensible, eat more plant-based. Stress less. It's not that big of a deal. Stress less. Give. Go ahead, Saurel.
Give, sleep, and move what your mama gave you. And want to thank each and every one of you for being here, for creating an environment where everything and anything can be said and heard. Love you madly. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Until then.
What did your mama give you, Saurel?
my mama gave me a teacup.
Oh, man.
Enjoyed
Kris.
it. Thank you.